Happy Tuesday morning to everyone. Welcome to the next game in the 1987 American League replay. We are at game number 293 overall. It's the second game from May 25th, 1987, which was a Monday in 1987. We're at Comiskey Park in Chicago, where the Kansas City Royals will be taking on the Chicago White Sox. Ballpark effect for Comiskey. Singles are 1 to 9 lefties and righties. Home runs are 1 to 4 lefties and righties. And there you see the pitching matchup, Brett Saberhagen, a right-hander against right-hander Joel Davis. The Royals enter the game 21 and 19. The White Sox enter 19 and 20. So it's kind of bunched up there in the American League West. So this will go a long way to deciding what's going to happen in the American League West. In real world, Joel Davis was 1 and 5 with a 5.73 earned run average. In the replay, he is 0 and 4, so he hasn't, done very well. And his ERA is 10.73. 26 innings pitched, 47 hits, 12 walks, and 9 strikeouts. Not exactly a stellar performance either in real world or in the replay. The only thing he does well is hold runners on. He is a -4. And when you combine that with Fisk's 0 arm, his quotient is -4. Saberhagen's a -2. He is a -3 hold, and Quirk is a +1. So wild pitch for Davis is a 4, balk's a 0. For Saberhagen, wild pitch is a 5, balk is a 2. Hello, Jeff, and hello, Philip. Good to see you all on this Tuesday morning. So Willie Wilson will lead it off for the Kansas City Royals. Center fielder. And, of course, can't start the game without the ultimate tools of the trade. Got to have these. Got to have this. Nice hot coffee. Got to have it. All right. So Willie Wilson steps in. He's hitting .303 on the replay. 2 homers, 8 driven in. He hit .279 real world. And we're underway from Comiskey. 6'11", switch hitter batting left. It's ground ball shortstop X. That is Ozzie Guillen. He's a 2E21. So X chance right off the bat. 2 and an 8 should be okay. Hello, Bob. Good to see you. 2 and an 8. G2, so that's no problem there. He's an E21, and that is a 10. Usually 10s don't come up with an error very often, and they don't in this case either. And it'll be a good play for Ozzie Guillen as he retires Willie Wilson. And that'll send up Kevin Seitzer, third baseman. Seitzer on the replay hitting .266, 7 homers, 25 driven in. He hit .323 real world. It's a 1-5, and that's a 1 to 9 home run, and that's a 6. So there you go. Didn't take long for Joel Davis to give up some runs. Look at it again. 1-5 is a 1 to 9 home run, and that is a 6. That'll be home run number 8 for Kevin Seitzer. It's a solo home run. That'll bump his RBI total to 27 on the replay. 8 homers now and 27 runs batted in. Royals take a 1-0 lead. Here's Danny Tartable. Tartable is hitting .315 on the replay. 11 homers, 35 driven in. He at .309 real world. 1-4, and that's a split chance with the little triangle. 1 to 3 is a single, but that's a 15, so he's going to line it to Guillen at shortstop. 2 down. And that'll send up George Orta, the designated hitter. Orta on the replay is unbelievably hitting .080 in 25 at-bats. He had 50 at-bats real world and hit .180. But in his first half of his at-bats, he's hitting .080. Does have a triple. That's a 5-9, and that's a ground ball to second. And Orta is out of there. Kansas City takes the lead, though, on the Kevin Seitzer homer. We go to the bottom of the first. Kansas City nothing. White Sox coming to bat, and here's Brett Saberhagen. On the real season, he was 18 and 10 with a .336 earned run average. On the replay, he is 4 and 4 but his ERA is only 2.69. He just has not been getting run support. 67 innings pitched, only 56 hits, 13 walks, and 39 strikeouts. So his walk to strikeout ratio is a 3-to-1, which is excellent. He's just not getting any run support. That's all you can say about that. And Darryl Boston will lead things off for the White Sox. Boston in left field for this one, hitting 326 on the replay, 5 homers, 16 driven in. He was a 258 hitter real world, so he's doing a lot better on the replay thus far than he was in real life. So Saberhagen to Boston. It'll be Boston, Reedus, and Baines, top three. 3-8, and that's a single. There's the anti-clutch there, but that's not in play now. So Darryl Boston, leadoff single. Saberhagen is a -2. If Boston wants to get the lead, it would end up being a 1-11, 55% chance. So let's see, a 2-7 or an 11 to obtain the lead. 2-7 or an 11. That's a 10, but that's a 2. A chance of a balk on Saberhagen. His balk rating is a 2. All right, he does not balk, but that means Boston cannot obtain a good lead, so he will have to hold. No, you missed it, ID. Gabaza pitched the previous game for Kansas City. That was a couple, last week. You were a day late and $1 short on that one. All right, here is Gary Reedus. He is in right field for this one. Reedus on the replay hitting 260, 4 homers, 13 driven in. It's a 6-3, and that's a ballpark single check. It's a 1-9, and that's a 3, so there'll be a base hit. 1 base advancement on all ballpark singles. And the White Sox have runners at first and second. Nobody out for that glorious Hall of Famer, Harold Baines. Harold Baines hitting 266 on the replay. Homer 8 driven in. He at 293 real world. And he's nowhere near can bunt. He's a D bunter, so there's no way in the world we're going to have him bunt. 3-6, and that's a 1-15 home run, but that's a 19. It'll still be a double. Double to center field. All doubles are assumed to go to center. And Reedus will score from first base without a throw. Reason being, he runs at a 17 as the trail runner was not being held. Makes him an 18, and Wilson's a +2 arm in center. That's a 20, so he scores without a throw. It's a 2-run double for Harold Baines, and the White Sox have jumped back out in front 2-1 after trailing 1-0 in the first. So now here. Okay, I think we're back now. Good old YouTube app doing it to me again. My internet has never been a problem. My laptop shows I have full internet, so it's not an internet thing. It's a YouTube thing. It's going through the YouTube app. Oh, I remember the dial-up days, Jeremiah. I definitely remember that. So anyway, I'm trying to remember what was shown before it locked up on me. Hopefully you saw the Harold Baines double that scored 2 runs, and then right after that, Greg Walker flew to right field for the first out of the inning, but that's when I noticed the problems. So hopefully we're back in business now. Like I said, I don't know, why it would have done that, but maybe the YouTube thing needs some more coffee. I don't know. All right. If I was going through OBS or XSplit, this probably wouldn't happen. It's that YouTube app that it seems to not like what I'm doing some of the time. Sometimes you get on here like yesterday, and no problems whatsoever. So I don't know what the reasoning why. Certain days it likes it, and certain days it doesn't. Anyway, to resume play, we're back at Carlton Fisk, and I had shut down the computer, obviously, so I don't have the Strat-O-Matic computer up. I'm just going to keep the Strat-O-Matic computer down completely while I play this and do everything manually, and I'll input the stats manually after the game is over, so I don't want to deal with any other complications. So Carlton Fisk is your batter, and we're ready to resume. 5-9, and that is a fly to center field. That's caught by Willie Wilson. Bain stays at second base, 2 down, and that'll send up Tim Hewlett. It is a clutch situation for Hewlett. That's a 2, so a chance of a balk or pass ball. We're checking a balk, and again, Saberhagen's balk rating is a 2, and there is no balk. So here's Hewlett, 5-9, and that's a fly to center again. But the 2 runs double from RJL's favorite player, Harold Baines, will give the White Sox a 2-1 lead after 1 inning of play. Here, Comiskey, but with Joel Davis on the mound for the White Sox, I don't think that lead is going to hold very long. Here's Frank White, 4-10, and that is a ballpark single check. It's again a 1-9, and that's a 6. Frank White, base hit. Base hit for White. Here comes bye-bye Balboni. To 6, and he's going to ground to short with an A. That's a 6-4-3 tailor-made double play. I'm really surprised some tailor shop hasn't done something advertising-wise, sponsoring the tailor-made double play of the game or something like that. That could be a thing. Maybe there aren't that many tailors anymore. I don't know. All right, here's Angel Salazar, 4-9, and that's a ground ball to second, and that's going to be an easy 1-2. Well, not a 1-2-3, but the double play turns it into a 1-2-3 inning for Joel Davis. So he catches a break, keeps a 2-1 lead. Here's Ozzie Guillen leading things off for the White Sox. White Sox with the victory would go to 500 on the season. Pull 1 game closer to catching Kansas City for third place. For second place. 3-7, and that is a single to center field for Ozzie Guillen. He will get a leadoff single. Hello, Chuck. He will get a leadoff single, and to get the lead, he needs a 6 or a 7. Does not get the lead. He will hold, and that brings up Fred Manrique. Manrique is an A bunter, so we're going to bunt. Yes, you don't clutch your heart like Fred Sanford. I am bunting. And ID, if he's still here, we might see a hit and run. You never know. Might be the game to do it. Might have to break down and do it. All right. So we're going to do the Mr. Guterman 1-3. The corners are in, and they are in. So it becomes a B bunter. We're going to roll, make sure there's no havoc. There's not. The bunt is fielded. A 5. The bunt says is fielded by the first baseman, and in this case, that is Balboni. He's a B bunter, so basically needs a 9 or less to have a good bunt. That's a 7, so that's good all day long. No problems there. That'll be a good sacrifice for Manrique. We'll just say Balboni tags him coming up the line, unassisted. Guillen will move to second base with 1 out, where he's in scoring position for Ken Williams. I believe he eventually became the White Sox general manager later in life. 2-7, and it's a strikeout. First strikeout for Saberhagen. That's out number 2. That's one of the problems with bunting. If the next guy strikes out, then you got 2 outs and you got 1 shot to get him in. So, like they said in Moneyball, you just hate giving up those outs. Only get 27 of them. I hate just give 1 away. 5-8, and that's a strikeout there. So the sacrifice bunt obviously didn't help in that case. When the next 2 guys strike out, it kind of kills the strategy. So we go to the third. And it is still 2-1. Here's Bo Knows. Bo Jackson. Bo Knows. Bob, Fred Manrique is a D hit and run. So certainly was not thinking hit and run with Fred Manrique. He's a D. As was Ken Williams, as was Darryl Ball. I mean, they're all D's, hit and run. So can't really do a hit and run when guys have ratings like that. I got to wait till somebody has a better rating than that. All right, here's Bo Knows. 1-8, and that's a strikeout. Bo knows how to strike out. That's first strikeout for Davis. There's Quirk. Jamie Minute work 2-6, and he's going to fly to center. Would have got a hit in the clutch, but we're not in a clutch situation. So just a fly out to center field, handled by Williams. 2 down. And that'll bring up Willie Wilson. 5-8, switch hitter batting left is a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Guillen. He's a 2E21. 2 and an 8, he'll get to that, I assume. Let's make sure. 2 and yeah, he gets to it. All right, so that's an 11, and he's an E21. And there is no 11, 6, 15, and 17, but no 11. So Guillen makes the play and retires Willie Wilson to end the third. So after giving up the home run to Kevin Seitzer in the first, Joel Davis has settled down. Maintained a 2-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the third. And we're looking at Reedus, Baines, and Walker due up for the Sox. Hello, Kathy. And to go with your emoji, there's the coffee. We have a question at the top of the fourth, so get your thinking caps on for that. You got a half inning to get ready. And put those thinking caps on. Reedus, 1-7, and that's a strikeout. Strikeout number 3 for Saberhagen. He has struck out 3 in a row going back to the previous inning. So after the sacrifice bunt, we've had 3 strikeouts in a row by the White Sox. Here's Baines, 2-8, and that's a single for Baines. So Baines, 2 for 2. You can poo-poo Baines all you want about the Hall of Fame, but in this game, he's 2 for 2. Not that that's correlates to anything, just saying. All right, here's Greg Walker. 5-6, and that's a strikeout again for Saberhagen. 2 down for Carlton Fisk. Pudge Fisk flew out to center his first chance. Fisk, 2-10, and that is a fly to center field, and that will be hauled in by Wilson to end the inning. So at the end of 3, things have calmed down a bit here, especially after the computer mess up and reboot. Things have settled in, and the score is now Kansas City still trailing Chicago by the score of 2-1. And now if you would direct your attention to the chat box and wait for Kathy to give us the first trivia question of the morning. I'll hold off on answering unless everybody else gets stumped, then I'll try. In the Yankees' first 100 years, which team did they lose to the most during that entire period? Wow, that's an interesting question. First 100 years. I have an idea, but I'm going to wait and see if anybody else wants to chime in. I have a thought in mind, or a guess, I should say, but I'm not going to guess anything at the moment. Or I could type it in the chat, maybe. I don't know. I'll type it in the chat. How about that? I'm sure it's wrong, but I'll type it in anyway, just to get us started. Maybe that'll give somebody else a chance to, with my incorrect answer, to figure out what the right answer really is. Oh, I got it. Whoa, how about that? That was a pure guess. Wow. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, as they say. Thank you for that, Kathy, for that question. My only deduction was at first I thought maybe the Washington Senators, because, early 20s, 1920s, they were really good. But then I'm like, well, they were only around till like 71 or something. So that's a lot of years not to play the Yankees. So then I thought, well, maybe the Tigers, all those Ty Cobb teams and the teams of the 30s, and so it's good teams in the 50s. I said, well, they got to play the Yankees a lot. I figured it wasn't Boston. My first trigger was Boston. I was like, there's no way it's Boston. So Yankees kind of owned Boston over the whole lifetime there. So going back to the curse of Babe Ruth. All right, here's Kevin Seitzer. He homered his first time up. 4-6, and that's a walk. So Joel Davis will give Seitzer the first walk he has issued in the game. but he is a -4 hold on the quotient. So if Seitzer got the lead, it'd be a 45% chance. So they're not going to attempt the lead. They will hold him on, but they won't attempt the lead. And here's Danny Tartable. 6-5, and that's a pop up to third base. One away. And again, Tartable a D hit and run and a D bunt. So, I mean, you're kind of limited on what you can do for strategy here. George Orta, not very good either. But you know what? This is the time to do it because George Orta sucks. And you might as well give him a chance on a hit and run. He might get lucky because they are holding Seitzer on. So that makes him a B hit and run. A B hit and run. So we'll do Havoc. Make sure nothing's happened on the Havoc. Okay, now, mark this on your calendar. A hit and run chance on this channel. You won't see it often. Probably never at all. But anyway, let's just go over the rules for the hit and run because I got to re-up on those myself. All right, so if the single-sided die is a 4, 5, or 6, he reads the result directly off the pitcher's card in the usual manner. However, if a strikeout, walk, single, or double result occurs while reading the pitcher's card, disregard that reading and refer to the super advanced pitching results, which are down here. If we get a 1, 2, or 3, we're going to go over here based on his hit and run rating. So that's what we're going to do. So the first thing we do, and I don't usually roll these separately. I usually roll all 3 of these dice together. But since we're looking at determining where we're going with this, I'll roll this one by itself. All right, that's a 5. It means a chance to go off the pitcher card. But on column 5 for Joel Davis, this column 5 right here, if we get a strikeout, walk, single, or double, then we go to this pitcher adjustment. That's a 6. So it's a 5, 6. It's actually a ballpark blast, which is a 1 to 4. So we roll the D20, and that fails. So let's see what happens on a failed ballpark blast. Does that come into play? Let's see here. Well, we didn't get one of these results of a strikeout, walk, single, or double, so that means we're not going to this. We're just going to go right back to this, and that failed. Now, to me, there's a flaw in this process because if you're doing a hit and run, you're not hitting for power. So that should take away the home run chance completely on a hit and run. Just about completely anyway. But as it was, he flew to right field to make it out number 2. So there you go. There's a hit and run. You say you never saw a hit and run. Now you can't say you never saw one. There it is, right there. Although had the D20 come up as a 2 or 1 or something, I don't think I would have given him the home run because when you do a hit and run, you're not hitting for power. You're trying to put the ball in play. That's the whole point of a hit and run, put the ball in play. And so you just can't give a guy a home run. I'd have to homebrew something on that because that just wouldn't be kosher to me. All right, here's Frank White. 5-10, and that's a catcher X. We're looking at Fisk, and he's a 3E4. 3 and a 20, that should be a ground out of some sort, I would assume. Yep, it is a G2 on a ground out. That's a 7, and he is an E4, so there's no problem there. So that's just a ground out, and that will end the inning. It's a third out, so it doesn't matter about base running. So that'll do it for Kansas City. And we go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 2-1 Chicago. Tim Hewlett, the batter. 1-9, and he pops to third. Seitzer is there, 1 away for Ozzie Guillen. 4-6 lefty is a strikeout for Saberhagen. Strikeout number 5 for Mr. Saberhagen. And that'll send up Fred Manrique. He had a sacrifice bunt his first chance. 4-6. This time he'll line it right to Frank White at second base. And that's an easy 1, 2, 3 inning for Saberhagen. We go to the 5th. Go to the 5th, and it's still 2-1. Now, Joel Davis, this is his fatigue inning, number 5. Amazingly, he's only allowed 1 run. He came into the game with an ERA over 10 in the replay. Here's Balboni. Didn't do a double play his first time. Up 1-6. This time he will strike out. He's doing Balboni things. And that's strikeout number 2 for Joel Davis. Here's Angel Salazar. 6-5, and that's a pop out to third. Tim Hewlett is there, 2 down. And Joel Davis is pitching the game of his season right here. He's 0-4 with an ERA over 10 coming into this game, but he's looking to get his first win. Here's Bo Jackson. 6-8, and that's a fly to center, so he keeps full endurance into the 6th inning. How about this? Who would have thunk that from Joel Davis? Came into this game in real world, he was 1-5 with a 5.73 ERA. But he's pitching like a 20-game winner in this one. All right, here's Saber. He's out-dueling Saberhagen, that's for sure. Here's Ken Williams, center fielder. Struck out his first chance. 6-10, and that is going to be a ground ball third base X. And that's going to be Seitzer, 4E26 for Seitzer. 4E26, that's a 20, so he's obviously going to get to it. Now the E26 part, and that's an 11. E26, and there's an 11 right here for Kevin Seitzer, so he will boot it. There's the 11 to go with the 26, so it's an E5 on Kevin Seitzer, and Ken Williams will take first base, see if he can get a lead. He needs a 6, 7, or 8 to obtain the lead. He does not get it, so he will hold. And back to top of the order for Darryl Boston. 1-5, and that's a ground ball shortstop A. That'll be a 6-4-3 double play, another tailor-made double play. But really, he couldn't do much with it. He's a C bunter and a D hit and run. So, I mean, how much can you do there when you got guys that are such poorly rated? So, this is 1987, the year of the home run. This is not 1920 something. So, teams just didn't play for the small ball. They played for the home run because the ball was juiced and the bats were corked and the balls were juiced in 87. Record year for home runs. 212, and that's a walk. Also, the biggest farce of an MVP ever was perpetrated in 1987 in the National League with Andre Dawson on a last place team getting the MVP award. That was ridiculous. They finished last with him. They would have finished last without him. So how are you a most valuable player? You might have been the best hitter, but you're not the most valuable player. All right, 2 through 6 for Reedus to get the lead. Whoop. Let's redo this. 10, he does not get the lead, so he'll hold. And here comes Harold Baines. He's 2 for 2, a single and a double. 4-11. Fly ball left field X. We're looking at Bo. He's a 4E14. Could be trouble. 4E14. 4-8 for a left fielder. 4-8. That'll be a single, 2 stars. So 2 base advancement on the single. And boy, that double play really helped out Kansas City to this point because it would have been a run scored, but we'll make sure there's no error. There's a 10. Usually aren't errors on 10s, but you never know. Get a high error rating. But no error on this one. It's just a single. So Harold Baines is 3 for 3. So all the Harold Baines haters out there you go. He's 3 for 3 in this game. So runners on the corners, 2 outs. Clutch situation for Greg Walker. He gains a hit, 1-5. And let's see, I think he's neutral everywhere else. So 1-5, he gets the extra hit. Other than that, he's neutral. 1-5, and how about that? We just rolled a 1-5. I just talked about the 1-5 being his anti-clutch hit where he loses one, and there you go. Right on cue, a 1-5. Would have been he gets the hit, not loses the hit. Would have been a fly out to center to the end of the inning, but he's a clutch hitter on the 1-5, so he gets a single, and that'll score Reedus to make it 3-1 Chicago in the clutch, his only clutch hit, and it shows up. 1-5 right there. How do you like that? Wow. That is a bit of unusualness, if I must say so myself. Usually it's the other way. Usually I experience those the other way around, where and it's a single 2 stars on the clutch hit. So Baines actually makes it to third base. Usually when I experience the anti-clutch or the clutch, it's usually because a guy loses a hit, not that he gains a hit. But it's an RBI single, and the White Sox lead it 3-1. And here comes Pudge Fisk looking for more. Pudge, 2-5, and he gets hit by the pitch. He gets plunked. That's going to load the bases. So, boy, where would the Kansas City Royals be without that initial double play? They had 2 outs, bases empty, then the innocent 2-out walk, or seemingly innocent 2-out walk. Baines singles, and then the clutch single, and now hit by pitch. And here comes Tim Hewlett with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And on the clutch for Tim Hewlett, he gains a hit on 3-2. That's his only difference. There's no way in hell I'm rolling a 3-2, though. 2-6, and he flies to center to end the inning. But the White Sox score a run directly off the clutch rating, and they extend the lead to 3-1 as we head to the 6th inning. Miss Kathy has a trivia question for us in the top of the 7th, so be on alert for that next inning. We got Joel Davis. He kept full endurance in his fatigue inning because he went 1, 2, 3, so he's going to keep going. Here's Jamie Quirk. 4-3. Ground ball pitcher X. Ground ball pitcher X for Joel Davis. He's an E26. That's a 9. I think he was a 2 E26, if I'm not mistaken. But I think the 9 is going to be good no matter what his rating is in the field. You get up to a 9, it's automatic out anyway, so it doesn't matter. That's a 7, and he's an E26. There is no 7. Starts with a 9, but 7's good. Joel Davis will make the play, and there's 1 away. Back to the top of the order, Willie Wilson. He has grounded out to shortstop twice. 0 for 2. 1-10, and he's going to ground out back to Joel Davis on this one. So Davis continuing his mastery in this ball game. I don't know what got into him, but he came into this game 0-4 with an ERA over 10, and he's pitching a gem so far. Here's Seitzer. The only guy that's got to him is Seitzer, the home run. 2-8, and he's going to ground it to Ian at short, and Joel Davis continues to keep endurance. He has not allowed anything. Nothing at all since reaching his fatigue inning. So we go to the bottom of the 6th. Saberhagen's fatigue inning is the 8th, so there's no problem there. And that'll send up for the White Sox, Guillen, Manrique, and Williams, the bottom portion of the order, to start this bottom of the 7th. 6-5, left-handed, is a 1 for a triple. Anything else would be a double, so leadoff double for Ozzie Guillen. White Sox looking to add some insurance. Here's Manrique. (6-9), and that is a ground ball second base C. It kind of acted like a bunt because it got the runner to third base. The bunt would have done the same thing. So now the infield is going to have to come in for Ken Williams. They're already down 3-1. They don't want to give up another cheap run, so the infield is in for Kansas City. 2-6, and that's a 1-7 single. That's a 12, though. It's a line out to short. Salazar snags it, 2 down. And now we're in a clutch situation for Darryl Boston with the runner at third and 2 down. Boston in the clutch. Loses a hit on 3-8. Everywhere else, he is neutral. But chances of me rolling a 3-8 are not very good. Roll a 1-3 instead. It's a ground ball to first, and that's going to end the inning. So Saberhagen pitches around the leadoff double. And at the end of 6, the score remains Chicago 3 and Kansas City 1. And I generally like to, I think Strat does it too, not go more than 2 innings past his fatigue, no matter how he's pitching. So this will be the last inning for Joel Davis, period. But before we get started with the top of the seventh, Miss Kathy has another trivia question for us. I don't know if it's baseball related or just in general, but if you would turn your attention to the chat box, then we'll see what Kathy has for us here for the top of the seventh trivia. And again, I will hold off from answering until I give people a chance to try to answer it, and then I'll type something in the box if nobody else responds or comes up with an answer that they feel is the right answer, or even a guess. Heck, I just guessed last time, so doesn't hurt to guess. You don't lose anything guessing. Just no Googling. That's the only thing that we like to do is not Google. So stand by and wait for the question, and then we'll continue on with the top of the seventh. At William Shakespeare's graveside, what is replaced every year on anniversary of his death? Wow, that could be anything. I'm not that big on Shakespeare. Don't know. I mean, I know about him. I just don't know that much. We had to read some stuff of his in school, but that was about it. But that could be almost anything. This sounds like a question Jeff might know the answer to, but I don't know. Or it could be a bunch of guessings, and we may end up needing a hint. But we'll give folks a few seconds here to answer. Something's replaced every year, so it's almost like they don't put something there and leave it there that could stay there. That doesn't necessarily mean it's flour or something. It could mean it's something else that they just, as a memorial, do it every year as a remembrance. I don't know. So I'm stumped. I have no idea. No idea at all. Unless it's like a copy of Hamlet or something that they swap out every year. I mean, I have no idea. Could not tell you. Kathy, I think you got everybody stumped. I don't know if you want to try to give a hint or whether a hint would give it away. Or if I was even on the right track talking about leaving a book there. I have no idea. A quill. Okay. Well, that makes sense because I would assume over the time of a course of a year with the weather and everything, I would assume that would get pretty worn out. So cool. A quill. There you go. How about that? Give yourself the bells on that one, Kathy. You stumped us. A quill. How about that? All right, so top of the seventh, and look at the White Sox bullpen because Joel Davis, this will be his last inning, period. They have Bob James loosely in their bullpen to try to get the save if and when Joel Davis needs to be replaced. He is a part-time closer along with Thigpen, but Thigpen pitched the last game, so James is rested. Jeremiah, I am far from a thespian. Definitely far from a thespian. It's not that I have an area of expertise, but that's definitely ain't it. Here's Tartable, 2-6, and that is a ballpark blast for Tartable. It's only a 1-4 though. The double die didn't get quite low enough. Deep fly to left, and that's going to take care of that. Here's George Orta. Well, it's not useless, Kathy. It's nice to know, and it's good to get knowledge wherever it can come from. I'm all for knowledge. 6-7, ground ball second base X, and that is Manrique. He's a 3E13. Double die shows up at the most inopportune time. That'll be a base hit. That is a 9, and Manrique is an E13 at second base. No problem there, but it will be a base hit. George Orta sneaks it past for a base hit. If he was a tying run, I'd pinch run for him, but his run really doesn't mean anything per se. So, oh, it is 3 innings. Trust me, the way Joel Davis's card is, I don't think he's gonna last that way anyway. I think he's gonna need relief, but we're gonna try to get him through this inning and then turn it over to their closer for the 8th and 9th. Here's Frank White, 3-6. But look at that, ground ball third base A, a tailor-made double play again, 5-4-3. I'm telling you, there's a tailor shop out there that's missing an opportunity on advertisement because he could sponsor the tailor-made double play of the game. And we're going to the 7th inning stretch, and Joel Davis, how about that? 3-1. Let me see if there's something in the rule book about pitcher fatigue going past these 2 innings. I've always, kind of my house rule has always been to never go more than 2 innings, but let's see here to do that. Okay, we are back, I think, but we got invaded. Got invaded by a kitty. Tabby has decided to, this is her resting place for some reason. I don't know why. Tabby, what's going on here? What are you doing, Tabby? Tabby. Tabby. Here's the culprit right here, maybe. Right here, just maybe the culprit. Tabby. Trying to play a game here, Ruby. But she decided she wanted to come over here. Tabby. I'm trying to finish the game, Tabby. I got a perch right here for you. You sit right over here. Tabby. Tabby. Come on, you can move now. Come on. Time to go. Got a game to play. Got a game to finish before the internet goes out again. Come on, or before YouTube messes up again. Come on. Come on, you can move now. Come on. You can move now. There you go. Got a spot right here. No, not right there. Come on, you didn't go far enough. Come on. Right there. There you go. Okay. Whew. Now I think we might be back in business if I can get this thing situated where it needs to be. Let's bring it out here. How about this? I got it too close, maybe. I don't know. A little close, but maybe you can see the cards better. I don't know. All right. So let's resume before we're so rudely interrupted by the YouTube app and now by Tabby. We're going to the bottom of the 7th. I have to roll dice with one hand and pet Tabby with the other hand, I guess. Keep her quiet. All right, so here's Harry Reedus. That's a 4-8 for Saberhagen to pop out the 3rd. Kevin Seitzer is there, 1 away. Even had to move my coffee because I was afraid she's going to knock the coffee over. And the last thing I want is a coffee spill on these cards. All right, here's Harold Baines. 5-4, and that's a ballpark single check. It's a 1-9, but that's an 11. So this time, finally, they retire Baines for the first time. He's now 3-4. And here's Greg Walker. 2-4 for Walker. That's another ballpark single check, 1-9, but the 15 comes up, so that's a liner to second, and that's going to end the inning. So Saberhagen, quality start. Just again, reason why his record's only 4-4 is Kansas City just does not score runs for him when he pitches, and it's happening again. Only 1 run in 7 innings. Just the way it is. And now Bob James going to come on to try to close the deal. He is a +2 hold. So that means the Royals could move on the base paths, but you're down by 3 or by 2 runs, so they may not want to take the risk. It'll be Balboni, Salazar, and Jackson. We are in the 8th inning, so pinch hitting is allowed. And if we look at the Royal bench, let's see who's available that's any good. Well, you do have Thad Bosley. He's a good left-handed hitter. You got Juan Beniquez. I don't really want to use Hal McRae anymore. He's kind of been overused, so I'm going to leave off, not use Hal McRae. But here's Balboni to start us, 5'9", and that's a fly ball to center, and that's 1 away. Balboni is retired. Here is Salazar, and they will pinch it for Salazar with Thad Bosley. Thad Bosley hit .279 in the 1987 season. And so they will give him a chance as they pinch hit him here in the 8th inning. And then coming into play shortstop will be the interesting fellow, Buddy Biancalana. And his 3E88 rating. But it will be Thad Bosley to lead things, or to pinch hit here for Salazar. Try to get something started for the Royals. That's a 4-5, and that is a fly to center, so that didn't help. 2 down. 4-5 for a righty hitter. Had Salazar stayed in the game, it would have stayed a fly ball to center. No, Tabby, get back. No, stay down. Come on, no, stay down. There's not enough room for you up here. You stay on your perch. I'm going to try to keep her here until we get this game over, finished. So, well, the D20 didn't go through, so we're going to re-roll this. Here we go. 1-7 for Bo, and he strikes out to end the inning. So Bob James, a 1-2-3-8. He will come back to try to close it in the 9th. Meanwhile, Saberhagen going for the complete game. His fatigue is an 8, so this is his fatigue inning. But as long as he's pitching fairly well, no sense taking him out. 2-9 for Fisk. That's a leadoff walk, though, so they will keep an eye on this. Steve Farr is loosening in the Royal bullpen just in case. Here's Hewlett. Now, they don't want to run for Fisk. He's a good catcher. They don't want to take him out. Here's Hewlett. 5-9, and that's a fly ball to center, 1 away. 1 down for Ozzie Guillen, shortstop. He doubled his last time up. He's 2 for 3 in the game. Fisk not being held. 2-9, and that is a 1-2 triple. 3-20 is a double. It's a double for Ozzie Guillen. Fisk, because he does not run well. Well, it's a double to center. They could send him. Let's see. He's a 10. He was not being held, makes him an 11. And the +2 Armor Wilson would make it a 13. But still, I think with only 1 out, I think they're going to hold him here. Force the Royals to play the infield in. And Saberhagen's 1 batter away from being fatigued. But the infield is in for Fred Manrique. Infield has to come in. 2-4, and that's a ballpark single check. So 1-9, and that's a 6. So it doesn't matter where the infield is. Manrique gets a base hit, and that's going to be it for Saberhagen. He has now reached fatigue, and he will have to be pulled. Kean has to stop at third because you only get the 1 base on the ballpark single. But that will do it for Saberhagen, and he is in danger of dropping to 4 and 5 on the replay. And it will also bring in. Actually, they're not going to bring in Farr. They're not going to waste Farr in this kind of situation. They're going to bring in Gumpert to mop up. So Dave Gumpert is on to mop up, and he'll be facing Ken Williams. Hello, Bart. Runners at the corners, and 1 away. They will play the infield in. They can't assume a double play. They're going to play the infield in. 1-9, and that's a ground ball shortstop A, so it would have been a double play, but as it is, it's a ground ball to short where the runner Manrique will go to second. Runner on third will have to hold, but now there's 2 outs, second and third. But they could have got out of the inning had they played for the double play. But you roll a ground ball B there and allow a run to score, then people say, why didn't you play in? So kind of a darn if you do, darn if you don't kind of thing. So here's Darryl Boston in the clutch now with runners at second and third and 2 outs. And that's a 1-8, and that's a 1-2 for a triple, but that will be a 7, so he flies to right to end the inning. Run comes in, and the White Sox have a 4-1 lead heading to the 9th inning. That's going to be it for Gumpert. And we'll figure out Saberhagen as well. Gumpert goes 2/3 of an inning and doesn't give up anything. Saberhagen 7 1/3. And he is going to give up 4 runs. I believe they're all earned. He struck out. Well, he hadn't struck out anybody since the 4th inning. That's pretty wild. Struck out 5 in the first 4 innings. The last 3 innings or so, he didn't strike out anybody. So he struck out 5, and he walked 2, and he hit a batter. But he's going to drop to 4 and 5 unless there is a big-time comeback here in the 9th. So due up for the Royals, it'll be Jamie Quirk, the catcher, followed by Wilson and Seitzer. Quirk is a .236 hitter, so I think they're going to pinch hit here for Quirk and bring in someone else. And at someone else, they're going to go to Bill Pacoda, pinch hit for Quirk. And if somehow they tie the game, Larry Owen can catch. So Pacoda will get the call to pinch hit here in the 9th. Bill Pacoda. 6-7 for Bob James. That's a base on balls. So leadoff walk to the pinch hitter Pacoda. And that'll send up. Pacoda will be held, but he won't go anywhere. Here's Willie Wilson. .49, switch hitter batting left. That's a fly ball to left. Put away out there by Boston. 1 away, and here's Seitzer. That's a 1-5 for Seitzer, and that's a home run, 1-9. That's a 14. It'll be a double. Not a home run, but it will be a double. And let's see here. The runner Pacoda, what is his run rating? Runs at a 13, but you're down by 3 runs. His run doesn't mean anything, so they will definitely not send him. They will hold him at third base. But now the tying run is at the plate in Danny Tartable. Bob James has to try to get through this. Infield is back because they got a 3-run lead. They'll allow the run to exchange the run for an out. We get a 1-7. That's a strikeout and a huge one for Bob James. So we're down to this. George Orta. George Orta, the final chance for the Kansas City Royals. 2-5 for Orta, and he lines it to second, and that's the ball game. Chicago, a somewhat surprising pitching performance from Joel Davis. He gets his first win of the season to improve to 1-4. Saberhagen takes the loss at 4-4. Bob James gets the save. He goes 2 innings. And we'll get the totals. 4-1 Kansas City. So for Kansas City against James, he gave up 1 hit, no runs. He did walk a batter and strike out 2. So 1 run and 4 hits for Kansas City, plus an error on Seitzer. So 1-4-1 for Kansas City. For Chicago, let's see how many hits Saberhagen gave up. I never even totaled those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hits Saberhagen gave up. So 4-10-0 for the White Sox. White Sox even their record at 20-20. Kansas City drops to 21-20, and things are getting even tighter in this American League West race. So there you go. Kansas City wins it by the score of 4-1. And we look ahead to tomorrow in the replay. We're going to be heading to Motor City, Detroit, Michigan. And we will have the Texas Rangers taking on the Detroit Tigers, Frank Tanana against Ed Correa. That'll be game number 294, and that will be tomorrow morning, roughly again around 9 o'clock. So I do appreciate everybody that stuck through all this, particularly my little computer snafus that made things not so smooth. But hopefully you enjoyed that presentation of Strat-O-Matic. I do appreciate Kathy for her trivia questions. And I don't know if I can get this over here or not, but we're going to try. Move me out of the way. You don't want to see me. Tabby. It's kind of dark there, but you see she's sitting on her perch right here. So anyway, just thought I'd show that. So let's bring this back where I got to get it positioned back the way it should be for next time. Get over here. Programming note, I'm going to try something tonight. I don't know how well it'll go over, but we're going to try it. And it will preempt the Demolition League game that was regularly scheduled for tonight. And that's going to be, that will be a pre-play. That's right, I said a pre-play of tonight's American League wild card game between the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees in History Maker Baseball. I have created the 2025 season, and I'm going to use the rosters that come out for the wild card roster. I won't have the lineups obviously because the game wouldn't have been played yet. So I'll take what I think is projected lineups for these teams. It is a 3-game series in Yankee Stadium, best 2 out of 3. That's what the wild card result is nowadays. So I know the first game is going to be, the pitcher is going to be Garrett Crochet for the Red Sox. I'm not sure. I'm assuming Max Fried is going for the Yankees. So I'm going to make an assumption that Max Fried is going to go for the Yankees. He is a semi-ace on that. And I'm also going to make an assumption, and again, it's kind of bad to assume sometimes, I guess. But I'm going to make an assumption that Garrett Crochet will be the pitcher for the Red Sox. He is an ace, flash, and control. So they're very similar on their ratings, except he's a semi-ace and he's an ace, but pretty much the same. But anyway, I made these. That's what I've been doing in my, just trying to get, I think it's kind of interesting. That's the one game that you can play. History Maker Baseball is the one game you can play a game ahead of time. So it will be Fried against Crochet tonight. Probably not tonight because I want to play it before the game actually starts. So we're probably looking at this afternoon. I may do this around lunchtime. 12 to 1, somewhere in that neighborhood, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something in the neighborhood. Because I'm not going to, I don't want to do it while the game's actually going on. You want to actually watch the game. So I still may come back and do the Demolition League tonight anyway. I don't know. But there's the game for tonight. I'm going to try it and see how it turns out. Hopefully by this afternoon, they'll have a projected starting lineups for both teams, and I can use that. And we'll see what History Maker Baseball says about it. And the ratings, most of the ratings on the players I got from their in-season 2025 PDF, which is free on their website to download. But then the players that aren't on the playoff roster that weren't rated by the company, I rated myself using their ratings book and the stats. So it's a close approximation, even if it's not exact. It's a pretty close approximation. Hey, Tony, good to see you. So that'll be probably around 1 o'clock, maybe 12, but I'm looking kind of more towards a 1 o'clock thing for this. I'm not sure. I got to see what Uncle Ron's doing. If he's streaming at noon, I don't want to stream when he's streaming. I'll let him have the floor for that. But if for some reason he's not streaming today, then I'll play this at noon. But if not, I'll wait for him to finish. So it'll be more like 1 o'clock because I've got to go and get the lineups. I got to check the websites and see if they've got the lineups out yet. And then, of course, make the score sheet and all that kind of good stuff. But that's what I plan to do, is play that and do what they call a pre-play, where you play the game before it happens and see if History Maker Baseball turns out to be like the real life or whether it's completely different. You write your own history. So that's the whole point of History Maker Baseball, is writing your own history. Not looking back, but looking ahead. So anyway, just thought it'd be a fun thing to do. I'm not doing it for every series, obviously. Don't have time for all that. I just decided I thought Red Sox Yankees would be the popular series to go with. I was going to do Cincinnati and Los Angeles, but I decided to go with the Yankees and Boston instead. So that'll be sometime this afternoon. I'm just not sure when. And then tonight, hopefully around 9 o'clock, we'll have the San Diego-Pittsburgh game from the Demolition League. That's one's already, score sheet's already made up and ready to go. Game number 40. It'll be Martin Perez against some guy named Waldron from San Diego that I don't know anything about. That'll be tonight. But for today, the Chicago White Sox beat the Kansas City Royals on a great performance from Joel Davis. 7 innings pitched, only 1 run allowed, as he outdueled Brett Saberhagen to get the win 4-1. Now, in the 1987 replay, like I said, tomorrow we'll be in Detroit. It'll be the Texas Rangers against the Detroit Tigers. That'll be tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. 1987 replay, Tigers and Rangers. So, we survived 2 internet blips and an invasion by a furry cat, and somehow we made it all the way through. So, for those that are still with me, appreciate you being around and being here. The Red Sox game's at 6 tonight. They're not playing at 7. They're playing at 6. Well, that means I might. Okay, so if I play the game in the afternoon, it doesn't matter what time. Okay, cool. They're playing at 6 today. Okay. Kind of unusual they play them early, but I guess with Cincinnati and LA playing late, I guess they want to have some West Coast games and East Coast games going early to make way for the West Coast. But yeah, that's a good deal. They play at 6 o'clock. That's pretty cool. Eastern time, that is. All right, so for those that are curious about this 2025 Wild Card Series on History Maker Baseball between the Red Sox and the Yankees, I'll be back around 1 o'clock or so, maybe 12, depending on what Uncle Ron's doing. And we'll play game 1. I mean, I'll take what I think is the projected lineup, or if they don't give a projected lineup, I'll just take what a typical lineup would be. Do the best I can with it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Garrett Crochet against Max Fried, so at least we got the pitching thing down. So, Tabby, thanks you for stopping by and watching. She is unapologetic though about jumping on the table because she's, she said this is her house anyway, and she just lets me live here. So, all right, so that's going to do it from here until this afternoon. Hope you all have a great Tuesday, whatever you've got going on. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.